Hello again, everybody. I thought we'd take a little time off today. And okay, I apologize for the clickbait title of this video. Because really, there are no alternatives to Yab. If you want to write for Haiku, your choices right now are to write in C++ or to write in Yab. And if you want to write in a language that mere mortals can actually understand, then Yab is it. However, when it comes to BASIC, Yab is not the only game in town. And I thought I'd run you through some other kinds of BASIC that I've managed to compile and package and just talk us through them. So, the first one right here is BASIC with a CK. Don't install this, okay? Because this is weird. This is an extremely primitive form of BASIC that's been implemented in Python, Lua, Ruby, and PHP. Right? It requires line numbers, it only does integer math, and has no string support at all. So why am I even putting this on? Well, if you are writing an app in Lua or Ruby, then you can incorporate this and have an internal scripting language. And so, just as a service to people writing in those languages, I just put it up. It doesn't cost me anything. But for us, no, don't even think about that one. Right. Then I compiled Bass. And that was created by a guy called Michael Hart. And then another programmer called Paul Ratt made a slightly different version of it. And, you can either use the one or the other. They will uninstall each other. You can't have them both on your system at the same time. Sorry. Then you'll see that apart from that, I've made a package called Basku. Bass for Haiku. Get it? And that's just a bunch of libraries to help you use, for example, the alert command that's part of Haiku, or the file panel, and make it a little bit easier to just use that within your own program. So you can't write an entire graphical program with it, but you can write something that will make life a little easier. You don't have to write your own file picker. You just use Haikus. Okay, so that's my contribution. You don't really need to install it if you think you can just do that by yourself. Okay, on to something more serious. This is bacon. All right. Bacon is not a basic compiler or a basic translator or a basic anything. What it does is it takes your code, which is written in a particular dialect of BASIC, not too hard to learn, and it changes it into a C program, which it then compiles. Now, we've got to be honest here. If you look behind the scenes at what the build factory does, it's not really all that different. Yeah, but well, let's not worry about that. So the main idiosyncrasy about this dialect is that all keywords have to be written in caps. So print is in capital letters. If it's capital I, capital F, then it is in capital letters. You get the idea. There is a way to not have that and be a bit more freeform, but you may then run into problems. But for writing, for writing character mode programs, Bacon actually runs very nicely, because the executables that it comes up with are very small because they're compiled C programs, and they run very quickly. It's just that extra step in there that's sometimes a little bit tricky, but if I can write a program in Bacon, then I'm sure you won't have a problem. There are libraries for it that let you write GTK programs. So Bacon can be used to write programs that are graphical, but frankly, GTK is not quite how shall I put it? Not our preferred platform. If you must have a foreign platform on Haiku, rather make it cute, because it's been hacked to resemble a native programmer just that little bit more. Still, it's very interesting to look at. Right, then we have the latest addition to my collection, Free Basic. Free Basic started out as a open source equivalent for Microsoft QBasic, or Quick Basic rather. And it's a compiler. It's not an interpreter, it's a compiler. And I didn't port it. The guy who ported this was, what is his nickname? CoolCoder613. Sorry, don't know your real name. And, I've compiled a few simple programs with it, and it works, right? Thing is that Free Basic just grew and grew and grew, and it grew in a certain direction. And among us basic diehards, we keep asking, why are you trying to turn Basic into C++? It's got a bit of object-oriented performance. It's got a bit of even procedural ideas in it. And internally, it is now, I think, 4 different dialects that you can choose between. I think they call them flavors. So this actually comes with the hooks into GTK and Qt and STL and all kinds of other programming environments. I haven't fully tested them all, okay? And you are probably going to have to figure out what development files you will have to include and what the dependencies of your final executable are going to be. So this does need a little bit of a, community get together and say, hey, this is not quite working, that's not quite working. This is also not the latest version. I think there is a minor upgrade since here, but actually compiling it slightly above my pay grade, because FreeBasic is self-compiling. You compile FreeBasic with FreeBasic. And so before you can even start that, you have to have some kind of FreeBasic stub that you've created somehow to compile FreeBasic. It gets complicated. So anyway, it is now available. We can play with it. We can see what works and what doesn't. Yeah, and see if it's worthwhile developing this any further. Then, finally, if you've been going through the YAB documentation, you'll see it again and again. For this to work, you need a version of YAB with incursus compiled in. Incursus is a library that, arranges things in a character mode screen. And we used to have that compiled in, but at some stage it's changed. I think I wasn't around at the time, but I can see that we had a discussion about it, and it seems the decision got made, no more incursus. You can have a look actually, and where is it? YAB documentation here. YAB with incursus, right? And it tells you exactly how to do it. You can build it and package it and use it. The thing is that it then is no longer necessarily compatible with standard YAB. And it's a bit unpredictable about which parts will still work and which will not. Despite that, I thought, I really like character mode programs. I want to write more of them. And, shall I make myself a build of YAB with incursus support? And then the thought struck me, why don't I just compile YABasic? No, the original on which YAB was based. And so this is not the latest version. This is the one version I managed to build rather quickly. And in Haiku, there's something that doesn't work. It's the YABasic has a graphics window. which will work fine in Linux and in Windows, and it doesn't work for us. There's a problem there with the with the fonts that it wants. It wants ancient bitmap fonts that that we don't have on Haiku. Well, I can supply them, but I have to figure out exactly where to put them. So until that gets settled, I've just taken out every reference to the graphics window from the help files, right, and say, right, this is what I want to use to write text mode programs and still be able to exchange libraries and routines with YAB. So those are the basics that you can get on Haiku right now. And it's a little hobby of mine. I will keep on trying to have a bigger selection of basic dialects available for Haiku. Right? But keep in mind, there is an enormous amount of basic source code floating around, and quite a lot of it is on my own repository. Right, so this is megabytes and megabytes of source code. Not just basic, there's C source code, there's Pascal source code, and so if it's, for example, QBasic or Quick Basic code, then you can use Free Basic to compile that. See how much of this stuff can be rescued, how much can still be made to be useful. And I have a soft spot for character mode programs, so you may see me producing some with these various kinds of basic. Thanks for watching.